Hello, my name is Yupeng Ching, or you call me YPC. Welcome to my latest project where I implement a new mechanic into the game Tournamental. The mechanic I will be showcasing today is called Destructive Bomb. The game that inspired me to make this mechanic is Super Bomberman. So let's move on with the demonstration. As you can see, when the player activates the mechanic, it sets down a bomb, and after a 3-second countdown, the bomb will explode. And if the player is within the bomb's range, it will reset the player. So as you can see, these are interactable boxes, so we can either move them out of the way, or we could simply blow them up. And here on the top side of the level, these are not interactable boxes. Instead, these are destructible walls. So let's go behind the scenes and review how the actual mechanic works. In order for the mechanic to work, I made a few changes to the core blueprints, that being the entity player and the entity interactable box. So the actual mechanic itself is here in the entity bomb. So the player will activate the bomb with spacebar, checking if they have stamina. So if the player does have stamina, it will use stamina and then allow the player to spawn the entity bomb. The entity bomb is placed on top of the player, well, whichever tile the player is currently at, with these coordinates. It's not really coordinates, but just the world location, based off of the current tile that the player is on. So once the bomb is spawned, we will just do a quick cast to the entity player just so that we can get reference for it later on and for the rest of the coding for the blueprint. So once the player has spawned the bomb will ask the player for the current tile location so that it knows where its location is. Once the bomb has been placed, it will start the countdown and begin the visual and audio indication of the countdown. So here you can see the coding for pretty much just changing its color for if you go to viewport, it will just change its color as you saw in the demonstration, and it will play the countdown sound. I didn't import any audio clips because I thought that the ones that were already with the game were adequate enough, and it seems alright in my opinion. It seemed to do the job. So continue on. After the 2-second mark of the bomb, it will check for the player. So upon checking for the player, it will determine if the player is on the same tile as the bomb or next to it. So the coding is as follows. It will check for the player. If the player is on the bomb, then it will call the player's reset level function. And if the player is next to it, that being down, left, right, or up in the adjacent tiles, then same thing, it will reset the level, meaning that the player has died and, well, has been caught in the explosion. If the player is not in it, then obviously nothing will happen. Afterwards, it will also check for destructibles. So destructibles being same thing in the left, right, up, down tiles of the bomb's current tile position. And I did a line trace for it just so that it's easier, less complicated for me to detect where the bomb's current location is and where the interactables locations are. So it will create a line trace in the up, down, left, right positions, but it's really just the along the x and y axis of the bomb. So if it does detect something, then it will call destroy actor. Otherwise, nothing will happen. And I made it specifically so that it will ignore the player, so that the player doesn't get destroyed. Because if the player is destroyed, then it creates a casting issue, and didn't want that. So made it simpler for myself to just say, let's ignore the player with this line cast. And since we already have the check for player, this already does the job of saying, hey, if the player is here, then we're going to restart the level. So after checking, after it's done doing its checks, it will play the explosion sound. It's not actually explosion sound. It's it's just the sound that was already in the game, and it's just, well, within the engine, that is. And to me, it sounds like explosion, and that's why I used it. So yeah, after it's done doing its checks and done destroying whatever needs to be destroyed, then the bomb would destroy itself. So the reason why I made it so to be destroy actor is because if it does destroy actors, it actually leaves the collision on the level, and that would be an issue because if it's still there, then you just have an invisible barrier blocking you. So to fix that, I made it so that if the entities that could be destroyed are destroyed, then it will just update the entity to be nothing, making it so that the player could pass through where the entity used to be. And so here for the destructible wall, you can see that it will just update the entity, making it nothing there. And same thing for the interactable box. Once it is destroyed, it will just update itself, update the entity to make it null, or and just be nothing there, allowing the player to pass through. And that's pretty much the coding for it. Thank you for watching my presentation, and that's all.